Hello everyone and welcome to the 0 to 10 Dynamic CRM 2011 series. My name is David Kohar and I'm going to be walking you through the interactive session today. Today's session is on importing data into Dynamic CRM 2011 and we're going to break the presentation down into three components. First of all, we're going to talk a little bit about how to prepare your data for import. Next, we're going to go in and actually look at how you set up CRM and actually import the data itself. And then lastly, we're going to go in and review how you can see your data import results. So let's start with preparing your data for import. Here are 6 things to go and think about before you actually do the import process. Number 1, make sure you get your data into the right format. Most organizations like to use CSV, and that's the example that we'll be using in the demonstration today. Number 2, remove columns with no data. We're going to show this later in the demonstration itself, but if you have a spreadsheet that has a bunch of columns that don't even actually have any data other than headers, just take them out of the spreadsheet altogether. Number 3, name your columns identical to what they are called in CRM. So if it says first name in CRM on the contact record, put first name on your spreadsheet. Number 4, each record type requires a unique file. If you have an account and contact spreadsheet, for instance, you're going to need to break that up into 2 files to import it into CRM. Number 5, take the opportunity to clean up your information. There's no time like the present, or do a little spring cleaning, but take a look at your data and see if you can get it a little cleaner before you bring it into CRM. And then lastly, number 6, when mapping one record type to another, you need to do an exact match. And we're going to show this in the example here in a moment. When we do the setup, we have an option actually for any custom fields. So any fields on your spreadsheet that are unique to you and your organization that you want to bring in and aren't in CRM out of the box, you can either go into CRM and create those records or those fields before you actually do the import, or you can actually do it during the import process, which we're going to do here today. And then when we actually go in and do the import itself, we're just going to use the data import wizard. We're going to select our file, we're going to select our data map, we're going to select which target record type we want to hit. We're going to go ahead and map our fields, and at the end we're going to be given the option, do we want to create duplicates, yes or no? Do we want to actually select the target owner? And finally, we can actually create a data map if we need to for the work that we've just done. Finally, we'll hit the import, and away we go. At the end, once we've actually imported our data, we can actually go in and do a quick review. And the nice thing is the data management tool will tell us whether we've had successes, failures, or errors. And it'll actually tell us if we've had any partial failures or errors. It'll tell us why those records didn't come in. And then you can always go back to your spreadsheet, clean up those errors, and then bring them back in again. So let's get started. I'm going to start off by going into a folder that I have. And you'll notice that I have 4 files in here. First of all, I have a file called accounts from bcm.csv. So I actually exported a bunch of data, well, in this case, 9 records, but a bunch of information from Business Contact Manager. And you'll notice actually on this file here itself, there are a whole bunch of columns that have no data in them. So they really have no value to us, and there's no point in actually trying to map all this information and making it harder on us. So what I've done is I've actually deleted all of those columns that we don't need, and I created this much cleaner spreadsheet that you'll now notice. As well, you'll notice that General Motors, Ford Motor Company, Microsoft, etc. are the names on my accounts, and this is on my account spreadsheet. I'll come back now, and I've done the same thing for contacts, where I've created a nice clean contact spreadsheet. So I have 2 separate spreadsheets, one for contacts and one for accounts. And you'll now notice on my company records, I actually have the exact same naming. So that way, when John Smith comes in for General Motors as a contact, and there's actually an account that's going to be brought in called General Motors, those 2 will actually match because the naming convention is exactly the same. Very important little step there to do. It will actually make your life a lot easier once you want to get to the import process. So I'm going to go ahead and close these 2 spreadsheets. And my last step is that because I've got reference of accounts and contacts together, meaning on the account spreadsheet, I'm referencing an account. So John Smith works for General Motors. And then on the account spreadsheet, I have General Motors with a primary contact of John Smith. I actually have the 2 spreadsheets in reality referencing each other. Now, the question may be, how do you actually, or which record type do you bring in first? Well, the answer is you actually bring in both at the same time. And the way you do that is you select both of your spreadsheets, so highlight both of them, and then right-click, come down to Send To, and click on Compressed Zip Folder. It'll actually automatically create a zip folder right here in the folder that you're actually in. And you're going to see it's called Accounts from BCM Clean because it actually selected my first file to name it as such. So I'm going to rename this to Contacts and Accounts. Accounts and Contacts from BCM Clean.zip. So it's effectively now taken the zip file, which is combined with these two files right here, my accounts and contacts, and now I'm actually going to bring in the zip file with those two record types at the exact same time. So let's go over to CRM and I'll show you how. Now that I pop up CRM 2011, here I'm at my dashboard here on my workplace, some great looking charts. I'm going to actually go over to the imports area here, and you'll notice when I click on imports, my ribbon here is going to change here for me and give me my imports ribbon. And up here on the top, actually, I'm allowed to bring in and import data. So I'm going to click on the Import Data Wizard, and I'm going to go ahead and browse, and it's going to take me back to that folder I was just in. So I'm going to step on the Accounts and Contacts from BCM Cleaned. I'm going to click on that. Click Next. You'll now notice that CRM was smart enough to know that two files were found, both accounts and contacts, okay? And so it lists the two of them out here. So it now knows that even though we brought in one zip file, there was actually two CSV files in there. And so it's grabbed both of them. And then when I click on Next, I actually get the opportunity to select a data map. And this is great. Microsoft has done some mapping for us automatically. So if I'm bringing in Salesforce data, or in this case, Business Contact Manager data, I'm going to select that data map. And what it's going to do is it's going to do the mapping for us automatically. So we're going to actually have to do less work because it already knows what the out-of-the-box fields are called in Business Contact Manager, and it's already mapped them to what the CRM 2011 out-of-the-box fields should be. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Next. And now it's going to say, you've got these two source data files, accounts and contacts. Which Microsoft record types do you want to bring them to? Well, of course, my accounts I want to bring to accounts, and my contacts I want to bring to contacts. I click on those two, and click on Next. And then you'll now notice that contacts got a green check mark, meaning it's already all mapped. So everything from Business Contact Manager data map was completely done. But accounts, it looks like I have a little bit of work to do because it has a little yellow caution sign beside it. So I go ahead and click on accounts, and now I'm going to get the account information here in front of me. I get all the source fields, so these are all the fields from my spreadsheet, and then I get all the CRM fields that it believes it should map to, which has done a whole bunch for us already. Thank you for Microsoft for putting in that work already. So what I'm going to do up here on the right is I'm going to click on, instead of show all, I'm going to just say show unmapped. And you'll notice that there's three fields that come up that are actually not been mapped so far. So I'm going to go ahead and create those. So number one, home phone, I'm going to ignore that one. Number two, primary contact. Well, that actually maps to primary contact. And it is right there. So it's a lookup, and I'm going to click on contact, full name. And then just before the actual demonstration began, target account was a field that wasn't in CRM out of the box, but I went ahead and created. So I'm going to go ahead and connect that one to the field that I created automatically. There, target account, two options, which the source values were no and yes, and it's smart enough to know that it's going to be no and yes on the CRM side. So I'm going to click on OK. And then finally, I'm going to click on Next. And everything looks good. So I have one more chance to change anything if I want to, but I'm not going to. I'm all set to go. Click on Next again. Now I'm given the opportunity to either allow duplicates, if for whatever reason I wanted to bring in some duplicate records, which not very often is something I want to do. And then it also is going to ask me to select an owner for import records in case there isn't one. And then finally, if I wanted to create a data map on those few records that I did have to manually map, I could actually create a brand new data map here. And I would type in something like data map LL video. And I'm going to go ahead and submit now. And not only am I submitting my data, I'm creating a data map, getting this all together, and next thing you know, it says congratulations. So I'm all set. I'm going to click on finish. And now, when we come back to the imports, you're actually going to see that 2 of these record types have been now submitted. Both my accounts and my contacts are in here. So I'm going to come over here and refresh this list. And this is actually a feature all through CRM. Whenever you see the sign here, click on that, it will refresh. And now notice that it's gone to transforming. Here's my status, and there's going to be 9 records processed. So I'm going to click on that again. And one's importing, and one's transforming. Give it a second here. So looks like my accounts are in, and my contacts are in. So both record types completely came in. I had 9 successes out of 9. I can always open up one of these import files. And this here would tell me the record type was accounts, okay? And I can go and click over here on the left and see all the records that were imported. So there's all my accounts that were imported. If there's any failures or partially imported records, I could click here and it would tell me the reasons why. So if I clicked on failures, it would give me any failed records that came in and why they didn't come in. So that would tell me all that there. So that gives me a full and complete picture of my data import. And that wraps up our data import process. So let's wrap up. Thanks everyone, first of all, for joining the interactive session here today. If you're interested in our complimentary Learning Labs program, which is provided to all the CRM Online trial participants, you can reach us at learninglabs@zero2tencrm.com. If you're interested in our project-based consulting, please send us an email to info@zero2tencrm.com. And again, this is David Kohar with 0 to 10, and we thank you again for watching the video today.